The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets overhead. And that's when Mr. Nicholas Hale slammed his copy of The Great Gatsby against the chalkboard, the crack echoing through the silent classroom like a gunshot. "Damn it all to hell," he muttered, his voice breaking as he turned away, shoulders heaving in a way that made my stomach twist, because in that split second, I saw at the raw, hidden fracture in a man I'd idolized for months. The one who'd quoted Whitman like it was scripture and looked at me with eyes that lingered just a beat too long. My best friend Jake whispered, "What the fuck?" But I couldn't breathe. Couldn't tear my gaze from the way Nicholas's hand trembled as he gripped the edge of his desk, whispering to himself, "Not here, not like this," and I knew, deep in my gut, that whatever secret was clawing its way out would shatter everything I'd built my fragile world around. I was 16 when it started, back in the fall of 2023, in that stuffy English lit classroom at Lincoln High in Elmwood, Ohio, a nowhere town where cornfields stretched like forgotten promises and everyone knew your business before you did. My name's Brandon Ellis, and if you'd asked me then what my biggest worry was, I'd have said it was fitting in, dodging the jocks who call me fairy in the halls because I preferred sketching in my notebook over tackling on the football field. But that all changed the day Nicholas Hale walked into our lives, fresh out of some fancy grad program at Ohio State, with his sharp jawline, wire-rimmed glasses, and that effortless way of making words feel like they were meant just for you. He was 28, I think, old enough to carry the weight of the world without showing it, young enough that we could pretend he was one of us. From day one, he had this energy like he was holding back a storm. He'd pace the front of the room in his crisp button-downs, sleeves rolled to his elbows, quoting Frost or Dickinson with a passion that made the girls sigh and the boys shift uncomfortably. Me, I was hooked. I'd always known I was different, stole glances at the lifeguards at the community pool, felt my heart stutter when the cute barista at Scoops handed me my mint chip cone with a wink. But Nicholas? He was the first person who made me feel seen, not just tolerated. It wasn't anything overt at first. He'd linger after class, asking about my sketches, landscapes mostly, but I'd started slipping in portraits, anonymous faces with eyes that mirrored his. "You've got real talent, Brandon," he'd say, leaning over my desk, his cologne faint and woodsy, like pine after rain. "Ever think about illustrating for a living, capturing the ache in people's souls?" I nod, cheeks burning, mumbling something about maybe someday. Jake, my ride or die since kindergarten, would roll his eyes later in the parking lot, tossing his backpack into his beat-up Ford. "Dude, you're crushing hard. He's your teacher. For Christ's sake. Get a grip." But getting a grip wasn't easy when every essay I turned in came back with notes in his looping script. "This vulnerability here, brave. Keep digging." Or, "Your voice shines when you let the emotion bleed through." It felt personal, like he was talking to me, not the paper. And God, the way he'd catch my eye during discussions, holding it until I looked away first. I started staying late, volunteering to erase the board or organize the bookshelf, just for those extra minutes. One afternoon, as rain hammered the windows, he handed me a worn copy of Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. "Read this," he said softly, his fingers brushing mine. "It's about love in places it shouldn't be." Might resonate. I devoured it that night in my room, posters of indie bands peeling from the walls, my parents' muffled argument drifting up from downstairs, Dad's construction job drying up again, Mom's night shifts at the diner wearing her thin. The book gutted me, the secrets, the longing, the way David tore himself apart denying who he was. When I finished, I scrawled a feverish response in my journal, pages filling with questions I couldn't ask aloud. Was Nicholas like that? Out here in the heartland, where rainbow flags got stolen off porches and Pastor Reynolds preached fire and brimstone every Sunday. Elmwood wasn't San Francisco. It was the kind of place where gay was still a slur whispered behind hands. The hooks dug deeper a week later. We were debating identity in The Catcher in the Rye, Holden Caulfield's angst mirroring my own, when Nicholas paused, staring out at the gray October sky. Holden pretends he's above it all, he said, voice low, but really, he's terrified of being real, of someone seeing the cracks. The room hung on his words, but his eyes flicked to me, quick, deliberate. I felt exposed, like he'd peeled back my skin. After the bell, as kids shuffled out, he called me back. Brandon. A word. My heart hammered as I approached his desk, stacked with graded papers and a photo of him hiking in the Smokies, solo, no family in sight. Your last piece on alienation. It hit close to home, he said, pushing his glasses up. You ever feel like that? Like you're faking it for everyone? I swallowed, the air thick. All the time, I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. He nodded, something flickering in his expression. Regret? Yearning? Me too. Kid. More than you know. Just hang in there. The world's bigger than this town. That kid stung. A reminder of a line between us. But it didn't stop the dreams. I'd wake up tangled in sheets, his face haunting me, the what-ifs piling like unpaid bills. Jake noticed. Of course. We were grabbing burgers at Dairy Queen, frost creeping on the windows, when he confronted me. Spill it. Bran. You're mooning over Hale like he's the second coming. I shrugged, ketchup dripping from my fry. He's just different. Gets it? You know. Jake snorted, but his eyes softened. Yeah. Well, be careful. Teachers aren't boyfriends. And your folks? They'd lose their shit. He wasn't wrong. Dad, with his Steelers cap and calloused hands, quoted Reagan like gospel and grumbled about those Hollywood types pushing agendas. Mom, bless her, tried to bridge the gap, clipped coupons for my art supplies, asked about school, but even she side-eyed the pride sticker I'd hidden in my sketchbook. Coming out? Not an option. Not yet. So I buried it, sketched Nicholas's profile from memory, hid the pages under my mattress. Then came the incident that cracked everything open. It was a Thursday, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving break. The air crisp with the promise of snow. We just wrap a unit on Forbidden Love. Romeo and Juliet meets Brokeback Mountain. Nicholas's curveball that had half the class squirming. Love doesn't care about rules, he'd said that morning, projecting a black and white photo of Ennis and Jack on the screen, mountains looming behind them. It just happens. And it destroys if you let it. The girls cooed, the boys snickered. I sat frozen, pulse racing, imagining us in those peaks, away from prying eyes. Class dragged, the radiator clanking like old bones. Then, midway through a quiet reading, the door burst open. Principal Hargrove stormed in, red-faced, clutching a manila folder like a weapon. Mr. Hale, a word. Now, Nicholas's face drained of color, but he followed without protest, leaving us in stunned silence. Whispers erupted. Drugs? Affair? Theft? Jake leaned over. But it's that hot TA from OSU. Saw him flirting at the game. 20 minutes later, Nicholas returned alone, but he wasn't the same. The bell rang, kids bolted. I hung back, erasing the board slowly, watching him slump into his chair, head in hands. Mr. Hale, I ventured, heart in my throat. He looked up, eyes red-rimmed, and for a heartbeat, I thought he'd cry. Not now. Brandon. Please. But I couldn't leave. Whatever it is, you could talk to me. Stupid, reckless words. He laughed bitterly, rubbing his temples. God, you're too good for this place. Just go home. Forget today. I didn't. That night, I texted Jake a dozen times, pacing my room as wind howled outside. What do you think happened? His reply, who cares? Drama's his problem. But it was mine too. Now. The next day, Nicholas canceled class, a sub droning through vocab worksheets. Rumor mill churned, complaint from a parent. Something about inappropriate content. By lunch, it was gospel. Nicholas had shown Brokeback, and Mrs. Whitaker from the PDA called it grooming propaganda. I found him after school, door ajar to his office. He was packing books into a box, deliberate movements masking the shake in his hands. They're suspending me, he said without looking up. Pending investigation. My chest caved. For what? Teaching. He stopped, meeting my gaze raw, unguarded. For being me, Brandon. For daring to show kids that love isn't one size fits all. The words hung heavy. I stepped closer, voice cracking. Then fight it. You're the best thing here. He shook his head, a ghost of a smile. Fight? In Elmwood? I'd lose everything. Pause. Everything I came here to build. I wanted to ask what that meant. To bridge the gap. But he turned away. Go. Before you get dragged in. I left. But not before glimpsing a photo slipping from the box. Him, younger, arm around a guy with my same build. Laughing, carefree. My mind reeled. Was that? The suspension hit like a Midwest blizzard, sudden, suffocating, burying everything under white lies and half-truths. School buzzed with it. Nicholas Hale, the cool teacher, sidelined for pushing the gay agenda. Lockers slammed with gossip. Cafeteria trays clattered under the weight of judgments. Jake and I huddled at our usual table, picking at mystery meatloaf. As he scrolled Twitter, Elmwood's echo chamber disguised as local news. Check this, PDA meeting tonight. They're gunning for his job. I shoved my phone away. Appetite gone. It's bullshit. Brokeback is literature. Jake shrugged, mouth full. To them, it's indoctrination. My mom's already on about protecting values. His mom, the quilting bee queen, had a Trump sticker on her minivan. I envied Jake sometimes, straight, oblivious, able to laugh it off. Me, every slur thrown in the halls landed like shrapnel, reminding me how close I was to the blast radius. That night, I couldn't stay away. The PDA meeting was in the gym, folding chairs in rows like a firing squad. I slipped in late, hood up, blending with the shadows. Mom thought I was at Jake's. Dad was at the VFW hall, drowning sorrows in Bud Light. The room smelled of coffee and resentment. 50 parents, mostly white, mostly conservative, faces twisted in righteous fury. Mrs. Whitaker stood at the mic, folder in hand. Mr. Hale exposed our children to explicit themes. Two men, together, in graphic detail. Graphic? It was a PG-13 movie. Murmurs rippled, nods, crosses signed over chests. Principal Hardrove, sweating under the lights, cleared his throat. We're handling it. Suspension is standard protocol, but the crowd bayed for blood, termination, sensitivity training, a ban on alternative lifestyles in curriculum. I gripped the bleachers, nails digging into wood, fury boiling. How dare they? Nicholas wasn't praying. He was teaching empathy, the kind this town starved for. Then, a voice cut through soft. Steady. This isn't about protecting kids. It's about fear. I whipped around. There, in a back row, was Nicholas himself. uninvited, unshaven, in a rumpled sweater that hung loose on his frame. Gasps echoed. He stood, hands in pockets, chin lifted. I'm gay. Have been since I could name it. And yeah, I showed Brokeback Mountain because it's a story about love, loss, and the lies we tell ourselves to survive. If that's a crime in Elmwood, then lock me up. The room exploded, shouts of pervert and not in our schools mingled with stunned silence. Mrs. Whitaker clutched her pearls. Hargrove stammered for order. Nicholas didn't flinch, but I saw the toll, jaw clenched, eyes scanning for exits. Our gazes locked across the chaos, his wide, pleading, mine fierce with unspoken allegiance. I'm with you. I willed. Fight. But security, two burly dads in Carhartt jackets, escorted him out, the doors banging shut like a gavel. I bolted after, heart pounding, catching him in the parking lot under sodium lamps. Rain slicked the asphalt, headlights cutting yellow swaths. Mr. Hail, Nicholas. He turned, soaked, defeated. Brandon, what the hell are you doing here? I closed the distance. Rain plashed through my hair. I had to. That was brave. He laughed. Hollow. Brave or stupid? My career's toast. Pause. Water dripping from his lashes. You shouldn't be involved. Go home. But I couldn't. Words tumbled out about the book, the sketches, the way he made me feel less alone. You're not just a teacher. You get it. Me. His expression crumpled. A dam breaking. Brandon, stop. You're everything I'm not allowed to. He cut off, glancing away. Just a kid with potential. That's all. The rejection burned. But beneath it, something electric. Was it pity or more? We stood there, ran a curtain between us and the world, until his phone buzzed, insistent, angry. He glanced at the screen, face paling. My fiancé, he muttered. Fiancé. The word hit like ice water. Fiancé, I echoed, voice small. He nodded, weary. Evan. From college. It's complicated. The photo in the box flashed. Had that been Evan? Laughter frozen in time. He's expecting me at his parents' for Thanksgiving. Normalcy. The kind I thought I could fake. I reeled, backing away. Fake? So all this, Giovanni's room. The looks, it's just your rebellion. Hurt, lace my words. Sharper than intended. Nicholas reached out, hand hovering. No. God, no. It's real. But Evan. He's safe. Understand the closet I can't fully escape. The admission hung. A confession wrapped in chains. I wanted to scream, then leave him. Be real, but jealousy coiled. Ugly and hot. Does he know? About tonight. A sad smile. He will soon. And it'll break us. Sirens wailed distant. Cops. Probably. For the disturbance. Nicholas straightened. Go. Brandon. Before they see you. I fled into the shadows. Chest aching. The rain washing away tears I hadn't realized were falling. Fiancé. The word echoed. A betrayal sharper than the town's hate. Back home. Mom was dozing on the couch. TV flickering infomercials. I showered hot, scrubbing the night away, but sleep evaded. Journal pages filled with rage scribbles. How could he pretend with Evan while stirring this in me? Dawn crept, gray and unforgiving. School was a haze, Jake prying, me deflecting. Heard Hale outed himself. Wild, right? Wild. Devastating. Nicholas didn't return. Days blurred into a week, then two. Substitutes droned. Essays went ungraded. I texted Jake theories, but deep down, I knew the board caved. Termination rumors swirled. Then, a package arrived, no return address, just my name in familiar script. Inside, my sketchbook, pages I'd forgotten in class, now bookmarked with a note. Your art sees what words can't. Keep creating. And remember, love isn't a cage, it's a key. Forgive the locks. And tears blurred the ink. Forgive? For what, hiding? Or for making me hope? I tucked it away, but the ache festered. Thanksgiving loomed. Dad carving turkey with forced cheer. Mom passing mashed potatoes like peace offerings. Heard about that teacher, Dad grunted. Fork stabbing. Town's better off. I choked on pie, excusing myself to the porch. Stars wheeled overhead, cold and indifferent. Whereas Nicholas, with Evan, playing house. The breaking point came mid-December. Snow dusting the fields like powdered sugar on a wound. Jake dragged me to the winter formal prep, string lights in the gym, bad pop blasting. Loosen up, Bran. Dance with Sarah or whoever. But I couldn't. Slipped out for air, breath fogging. When I saw him, Nicholas, across the lot, arguing with a tall guy, Evan. I guessed. Blonde and preppy, gestures sharp. You humiliated us, Evan hissed, audible in the crisp night. Coming out like that? For what? Your precious principles. Nicholas's voice cracked. For honesty, Evan. I can't keep pretending. They grappled, not violent, but desperate. Hands on collars, faces inches apart. My blood roared. I stepped forward, then froze as Evan shoved him back. Then we're done. Find your truth in the unemployment line. He stormed to his BMW, tires screeching away. Nicholas sank against his truck, head bowed, snow melting on his coat. I approached. Tentative. Nicholas, he startled, eyes widening. Brandon. The dance. I shrugged. Needed air. Silence stretched, broken only by distant laughter. Evan left, he said finally, voice raw. As expected, empathy warred with anger in me. Good. You deserve better than a cage. He looked up, searching my face. Do I? After dragging innocents like you into my mess? I knelt, level with him. You woke me up. That's not a mess, it's a gift. In that moment, under the sodium glow, something shifted. His hand found mine brief, electric, then gone. You're too much like me, he whispered, full of fire. Don't let this place dim it. We talked then, really talked, his Ohio upbringing, the church youth group where he first kissed a boy behind the bleachers, my fears, the sketches I'd burned in shame. No lines crossed, just souls brushing in the dark. But as the gym doors swung, music spilling, he stood. Go back. Live. I watched him drive away, taillights fading into white. Christmas break healed nothing. Town buzzed with Nicholas's exit, quiet resignation. No fanfare. I applied to art programs in Columbus, dreaming of escape. But the misunderstanding nod was his note for me, or guilt. Jake cornered me New Year's Eve, fireworks popping over the river. You're still hung up. Move on. Man, easy for him. January thawed the lies. A letter arrived, his forwarding address in Pittsburgh, a fresh start teaching at a community college. Elmwood tried to break me, but you reminded me why I fight. Your sketches? Frame them. And Brandon, be brave for both of us. And attached, a photo, him and that college guy, not Evan, but a memory. Smiling. Free. I framed it, hidden in my drawer. Spring came slow, cherry blossoms mocking my wilt. Graduation loomed. Acceptances rolled in Ohio State. Art scholarship. Mom hugged me fierce. Proud of you, kiddo. Dad grunted approval. But the real hook was the email. Late April. Heard you're heading my way. Coffee? Neutral ground. Nicholas. My fingers hovered. Accept? Risk the pull? Or walk away? Pull? Summer hit Elmwood like a fever dream. Humid days blurring into firefly nights. The air thick with cut grass and unspoken regrets. I worked shifts at Scoops, scooping cones for tourists who mistook our Rust Belt charm for quaint, while Jake prepped for OSU's engineering program, blasting EDM from his truck. Columbus. Baby, no more Cowtown, he'd crow, but his eyes flicked to me, worried. We drifted, me lost in charcoal and what-ifs, him building walls of normalcy. Talk to me. Bran, he'd say over greasy fries. Hale's gone. Ghosts don't pay rent, but ghosts lingered. That email burned a hole in my inbox. Coffee? Neutral ground. I'd stared at it for weeks, cursor blinking like a heartbeat. What was neutral? A cafe where eyes wouldn't pry? Or my heart, still raw from the porch confession? Finally, in July's swelter, I replied, Buckeye Brew. Friday, 2 p.m. See you there. Short, guarded. His response, looking forward. And Columbus sprawled ahead on I-71, a skyline tease against cornstalk sentinels. Mom fussed over my duffel. Call when you get there. Honey, her worry lines deepening since Dad's overtime dried up again. He clapped my shoulder. Gruff. Make us proud. Son. No funny business. Funny business. The phrase chilled. A reminder of the town's undercurrent. Whispers about that Hale fiasco fading, but scars fresh. I nodded, throat tight, and peeled out in Jake's borrowed ride. Windows down, wind whipping doubts. Buckeye Brew was a hipster haven, exposed brick, pour-over steaming, indie folks strumming from speakers. I arrived early, claiming a corner booth, sketching nervously, abstract swirls, a face emerging his. At 2:05, the bell tinkled. Nicholas entered, casual in chinos and a Henley. Hair longer, silver threads catching light. He spotted me, smiled tentative, warm, and my chest unlocked. Brandon, he slid in opposite, ordering black coffee. Up close, lines etched his eyes, but the fire simmered. You look grown. I laughed. Awkward. College kid now. You. He shrugged. Surviving. Gig at the college, adjunct. But it's mine. We eased in, OSU's chaos. My dorm lottery win. His new apartment overlooking the Allegheny. Safe topics. Skirting edges. Then, the pivot. About Elmwood, he said, stirring sugar absently. I owe you an apology. For the mess. The note. I set my latte down. Steady. Don't. You didn't make the town hate you. You met my gaze. Intense. But I made you hope. For something impossible. There was the elephant, tusked and trumpeting. Heat rose. Impossible or just scary? He sighed, leaning back. Both. I'm your teacher, or was. And you're discovering. I should have shut it down, but you didn't. The words escaped, laced with accusation. The looks. The book. That night in the lot. His jaw tightened. Guilt. Brandon. Seeing myself in you closeted, aching. I wanted to protect that fire. Not fan it. Protect. The word soured. Or control it. Like Evan said, your principles over people. Sharp, he winced. Evan was right about one thing. I sabotage. Push him away because I couldn't be whole. Same with you, flirting with danger. Then running. Flirting. Confirmation. Bitter as burnt brew. So, it was real. He nodded. Slow. Too real. That's why I left. And why I'm here now. Closure. Closure. The word landed like a door slam. I pushed my sketch across the table, his profile, from memory. Then take this. Remember the kid you woke up? He traced the lines, eyes softening. This is incredible. You're incredible. Pause. Electric. We could be friends. If you want. Friends. A lifeline. Or a leash. We parted with a hug, brief. Paternal, but his cologne lingered. Pine and possibility. Driving back. Radio, crooning Springsteen. I wrestled it. Friendship is bridge. Or barrier. Jake grilled me that night. Beers cracked on his porch. Friends with your crush? Recipe for heartbreak. Dude, I wave him off. It's fine. Lies we both swallowed. Fall semester hurled me into orbit. Life drawing classes. Queer alliance meetings in the Union, where rainbow flags flew unmolested. Columbus breathed different, diverse, defiant. A bubble from Elmwood smog. I thrived. Sketches evolving into bold narratives. Lovers in shadows. Keys turning locks. Nicholas texted sporadically. Saw your exhibit flyer, proud. Or, Whitman reading downtown. We met twice more, once at a gallery. Critiquing abstracts, once over foe. Laughing about small-town quirks. Boundaries held. No touches. No depths. But the pool hummed. A low current. Then, betrayal's shadow fell. November. Election hangover lingering like stale smoke. Rights rolled back in red states. Headlines screaming division. I was scrolling in the quad, frost nipping, when a notification pinged. Ex-post from an Elmwood alum. Breaking. Nicholas Hale back in town. Spotted with X at Whitaker's gala. Playing both sides. Attached a blurry photo him, arm around Evan. Schmoozing donors at the PDA's holiday fundraiser. Smiles polished, but Evan's grip possessive. My stomach plummeted. Back, with Evan? After closure. After us. Rage blinded. Text flew. Unthinking. Saw the pic. Guess friends means convenient. No response. Hours later, it's not what you think. Call? I didn't. Pride armored me. Hurt festered. Jake, visiting for game day, found me brooding in my shoebox dorm. What crawled up your ass? I showed him the post. He whistled. Ouch. Confront him. Or ghost. Ghosting one. Weeks passed. Silence a chasm. Finals loomed. I buried in canvas. Strokes violent, betrayed figures. Locked doors. Christmas break yanked me home. Mom's hugs. Dad's grunts. Jake's forced cheer. Elmwood glittered with lights, but felt smaller, suffocating. New Year's. I drove to the old parking lot. Rain-slicked memory, alone. Journaling fury. He lied. Used me as his confessor. Then crawled back to safety. January thawed the ice, but not my resolve. Back at OSU, Queer Alliance hosted a panel, coming out stories, raw and resilient. I volunteered, voice steady. My teacher showed me it's okay to ache. Then he hit again. But his spark? It's mine now. Applause warmed, but hollow. Post panel. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail, Nicholas. Strained. Saw the stream. You're brave, braver than me. About the photo. Evan cornered me at the event. Old ties. Board pressure for reconciliation. I want to end it clean. Call. Please. I deleted it. Twice. Third time. I listened. Heart cracking. In it, or another half-truth. The misunderstanding deepened. A rift widening. Midterms blurred, then crisis. February storm dumped 6 inches. Power out. Dorm's dark. I texted Jake, stuck. Miss home. He, worse, your mom's in hospital. Flu turned pneumonia. Panic surged. I Ubered a Greyhound. Bus rattling through whiteout. Mind racing. Mom, frail since chemo years back. Cancer's ghost lingering, pale in her bed. For dripping. Dad paced. Hollow-eyed. She'll pull through, he muttered, but fear etched him. Nights blurred. Hospital coffee bitter. Mom's hand cool in mine. Proud of you. Bran, she whispered. Lucid moments. Whoever you love. Be happy. Tears stung. Dad overheard. Stiffened. But said nothing progress. Or pretense. On day 4. Discharge loomed. I stepped out for air. Scrub-clad nurses bustling. When my phone lit, Nicholas. Heard about your mom. Anything? How? Jake. Probably. I typed. She's okay. Thanks. Pause. Can we talk? In person. Against better judgment. Elmwood Diner. Saturday. Neutral ground. Redux. Saturday, dawn brittle. Sun mocking slush. The diner. Mom's old haunt. Smelled of grease and pie. Nicholas waited in a booth. Nursing tea. Face gaunt. How's she? First words. Genuine. I slid in. Guarded. Recovering. Thanks for asking. Awkward beat. About the photo, I cut in. Voice steel. Save it. I get it, small town. Survival. Evan's your shield. He recoiled. No. I told him it's over. For good. The gala? A trap. Hargrove ambushed me. Said it'd clear my name if I played nice. Trap. The pieces clicked, board politics. Image rehab. And you went? After everything. Hurt cracked my armor. He leaned forward. Urgent. To protect you. Rumors were flying, your name tied to mine. From that night. I couldn't let it touch you. Me? Protect me? The revelation twisted. Noble. Infuriating. So you martyr yourself? Lie to me with silence. Tears pricked. I swiped them. I thought. We were building something. His hand crossed the table, hesitant, then firm on mine. We are. But slow. Right. The touch anchored. Worlds colliding. No lines blurred. Just truths aired. We talked hours. Evan's final plea. Nicholas's therapy in Pittsburgh. My mom's quiet acceptance. She knows, he asked. Soft. I nodded. About me. Not you. Yet. Laughter bubbled. Tentative. As we parted. His hug lingered, warm. Promise-laden. Friends first, he murmured. Then. See. Driving back. Storm clouds gathering. I felt lighter. Misunderstanding unraveled. Threads weaving anew. But climax brewed. March. OSU's spring showcase. My pieces on display. Raw confessions in oil and ink. Nicholas came. Incognito in the crowd. Eyes shining at my key to the cage. 2 figures. One unlocking the other. Faces obscured but souls bare. Post-show. Champagne fizzing. You pull me aside. This is you. Us. Heart stuttered. Maybe. Then. His phone rang, Evan. Finality in the tone. It's done, Nicholas said later. Over late-night tacos. Free. Freedom's edge terrified. We navigated. Study sessions turning personal. Walks along the Scioto where hands brushed accidental on purpose. No kisses. No beds, just depth. Building. Jake visited. I just wary. Treading thin ice. Prof and student. Nicholas heard. Step back. He's right. Tension simmered. April shattered it. Anonymous email to the dean. Inappropriate relationship. Hale and Ellis. Check dates. Source from Elmwood Spies. Evan's spite. Investigation loomed. Interviews. Scrutiny. Nicholas called. Panicked. Deny it. All of it. But lies choked me. I can't. Not anymore. The storm hit. Hearings. Headlines in the Dispatch. Former suspended teacher linked to student. Elmwood erupted. Dad's calls furious. What the hell? Boy. Mom. Recovering. Whispered support. Nicholas resigned preemptively. Packing for Chicago. New job. Clean slate. It's over, he said in our last meet. Rain lashing cafe windows. Before it ruins you. Ruin? Or rebirth? I grab his arm. Run together. Reckless. Raw. He cut my face. Thumb gentle. Not yet. Grow first. Then find me. The kiss first. Chaste sealed it. Goodbye. Or vow. Summer scorched Columbus into submission. Pavement shimmering. Olentangy, river sluggish under haze. The investigation dragged like a bad divorce. Dean's office interrogations. Where I stonewalled Minter, nothing more, and Nicholas's preemptive exit smoothed the edges. No charges, no scandal, but whispers clung like humidity. Queer Alliance rallied. Fundraisers for my artistic freedom, but isolation gnawed. Jake, back for break. Crash my couch. Beers in hand. You dodge a bullet. Man, he's twice your age. Age. The gap yawned. But love doesn't clock in. I threw into art, summer intensive at the Wex. Canvases bleeding emotion, fractured mirrors. Keys bent but unbroken. Mom visited, frail but fierce, squeezing my hand. Follow your heart. Brandon. It's stronger than fear. Dad? Radio silence. Then a grudging text. Heard the noise. You okay? Progress. Glacial. Elmwood faded. A sepia memory. Nicholas's absence echoed. A void filled with postcards from Chicago. Windy City suits the restless. Miss our talks. Or saw a sketch like yours in a gallery. You're destined. I wrote back. Letters sealed with hope. City lights. Therapy breakthroughs. The courage to tell Jake everything. His reply, proud. And relieved. Secrets were killing me. Fall semester sophomore year, Dawn Electric, Advanced Studio. A boyfriend flirtation with Theo. The lanky sculptor with tattoos and a laugh like thunder. Easy. Uncomplicated. But Nicholas lingered. A compass north. We met midway, neutral Toledo, over diner pie. He looked settled, adjunct at Northwestern, glasses new, smile genuine. Dating, he asked. Casual. I nodded, Theo's face flashing. Trying, his eyes dimmed. Brief. Good. You deserve uncomplicated. Uncomplicated chafed. Theo was sweet, movie nights. Hand-holding the quad, but shallow. Like a sketch without shadow. We fizzled by Halloween. Mutual ghosts. I called Nicholas. Voice thick. Over. Pause. Come visit. Chicago's got space. Temptation tugged, but wisdom held. Soon. Winter quarter. Climax crested unexpected. Christmas card from home, Dad. Alone. Post-divorce filing. Mom's health. The scandals. Elmwood's pressure cracking their facade. Need to talk. Son. Face to face. I flew back. Dread pooling. Dad waited at the airport. Older. Diminished. Steelers cap askew. Diner booth. Coffee steaming. Your mom. She told me. About you. Blunt. Ohio style. I braced. And he stirred. Slow. Scare me at first. Thought I'd failed you. Pause. Eyes wet. But seeing you fight for art, for truth, that's strength. Like your mom. Forgiveness. Raw. We hugged. Awkward. Real. Nicholas, he ventured. He showed me it's okay to be me. Dad nodded. Then thank him. From me. Emboldened. I drove to Chicago, unannounced. Heart hammering. Nicholas's apartment. Third floor walk up. Books stacked like towers. City hum below. He opened the door, stunned, then grinning. Brandon. Inside. Wine poured. Story spill, dad's thaw. My exhibit acceptance in NYC. Then, the air shifted. I waited, he admitted. Voice low. Grew into it. I stepped close. Me too. The kiss, second. Deeper, ignited. No rush. Just unraveling. Hands mapping familiar strange terrain. Breaths sinking like sonnets. We talked through it, boundaries. Futures. The world's teeth. Slow, he murmured against my temple. But hours. Nights blurred. Walks along Lake Michigan. Dawn painting waves gold. Lazy mornings with coffee and critiques. No Elmwood shadows, just us. Building. Betrayal's echo? Evan surfaced once. Email to Nicholas. Bitter congratulations on his puppy love. Nicholas forwarded it. Laughing. Old news. I deleted. Free. Spring bloomed defiant. I graduated early, Summa. Scholarship to Pratt in Brooklyn. Nicholas drove me east. U-Haul loaded with canvases and hopes. New York, he teased. Hand on my knee. Big leagues. We paused in Philly. Skyline glittering. This us is the league. Years folded. My illustrations in indie mags. His novel on forbidden loves hitting shelves. Visits bridged miles. Holidays in Chicago. Summers in the Smokies. No rings yet. No rush. But depth-rooted. Therapy together. Coming out to his family. Tearful acceptance. My first gallery show, where he whispered, "Knew you'd shine." The humanistic close came quiet. 5 years on. A rainy October in our Brooklyn brownstone. His book tour wrapped. My latest series unveiled. We'd fought, jealousies flaring. Distances straining, but emerged tempered. Curled on the couch. His head on my chest. He murmured, "Remember Elmwood?" Thought it'd end us. I kissed his hair. It began us. Outside. Leaves swirled. Defiant color and gray. Love, we'd learned, isn't absence of storm. It's the key turning in the lock. Again and again. Shaken? Once. Confused? Always a little. But whole, finally, fiercely. And in that wholeness, the boy who sketched secrets found his story, not tragedy, but quiet triumph. American as apple pie and protest marches, flawed, fierce, forever unfolding.